is ABC 7 News.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Thursday's edition of Wizard's World. Today, Kristen Hall, National Account Manager for California with Tauck Tours, will guide us through some of their top North American tours, and she'll also talk about what protocols they have in place for traveling during this time of COVID-19. Tauck Tours is a family company that started back in 1925. They are considered one of the top tour operators throughout the world. By exceeding customer expectations, they continually build a loyal and dedicated following. One of their core beliefs is that when you travel with Tauck, it should be effortless. It should transform, re-energize, and be beyond the ordinary, and above all, fun. If you have any questions during this presentation, please put them in the chat box, and we will get to as many questions as possible at the end of the webinar. I will now give the screen to Kristen and let her show you the magic of Tauck. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction, Jim. Appreciate you giving us such a magnanimous intro for everyone here. Excited to chat with everybody today. Just as soon as I get that ability to share the screen, I'll go ahead and open up my my presentation, and we can jumped in and get started. But thank you everyone for joining today. Really appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about Tauck and learn a little bit more about what we're up to here. Looks like I still don't have control of the screen, Jim, so if you just want to make me that host, I will go ahead and open it up.
I'm having some difficulties with that. I apologize.
No worries, no worries. There should be an ability next to where it says record reactions and all of that, there should be an ellipses, a little triple dot in there. You should be able to give me the ability to share my screen, but let's see if that will work for you.
Sure. Okay, hold on a second.
Or you guys can just listen to me talk for the whole time, which would be very interesting. I'll try and make it interesting with hand gestures.
As I try to figure this out. Hold on a second, please. I apologize to everybody in attendance for this.
No worries, no worries. Let's see here. I'm trying to see in your account where you would do that. It should be on just your screen. There should be a bar either at the bottom or at the top, and you should be able to take care of screen control from there.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sure.
Oh, I might be in the wrong spot. Hold on.
I think you are. I think it's just on your general screen, so not on not in your web browser, but just either directly on the bottom of your screen or on the top. There should be a bar with some controls. On those controls, you should have the ability to have me share my screen from there.
You share. Share. Says I'm screen sharing. I don't know why it's not there. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay, you want to run that by me again?
Sure. So on your screen, either directly on the bottom or directly on the top, there should be an opportunity for you to change your host as well as change who has the ability to share a screen. Oh, looks like I just got it. Good job, you did it. All right, sharing my screen now. Just a moment. Okay, you guys should be able to see now. Can everybody see okay?
Yes, I can, and I do apologize again for that.
No worries at all.
Take it away, Kristen.
Great, wonderful. Well, thank you again for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time to join today and learn a little bit more about what we're up to here at Tauck. It's certainly been a wild few months, so we are happy to give you an update on where we're at and then share a little bit of some of our new trips that we have, as well as some of our tried and true North America programs. Now, I've muted everyone just for the sake of keeping some of the background noise down, but after the presentation, if you do have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. It's just that microphone that you see in the bottom left of your screen, and we'll be happy to hear your questions. All right, so with that, I'll go ahead and, oh, looks like we've got some more folks to admit. There we go. So with that, I'll go ahead and jump in. So just in terms of where we're at right now, we are on pause through December 31st. If one of your trips has been affected by this, your fabulous agent partners at Travel Wizards will be in touch with you. The other update we have, our new update that we just launched this week, is that we will be moving our final payment due dates for all of our programs through March 31st of next year to 45 days before departure. So a little bit more time to make your decisions there. In terms of restarting, right now we are assessing our ability to restart operations, both with our teams here domestically as well as with our partners abroad. Health and safety, of course, will be the #1 priority. That being said, on top of being healthy and safe, we want to make sure that we're able to provide an exceptional experience for all of our guests. So we are actually running test trips as we speak. We have a group out in Cape Cod. It's a group of Tauck employees who is testing out all of the protocols that we've put in place, making sure that it is in fact as safe and as healthy for our guests as it possibly can be, but also making sure that we're providing still an exceptional experience. You know, this is supposed to be a fun and enjoyable experience for everyone. And if the guidelines or everything else that's going on is not going to allow it to be, then we just simply won't operate the trip. It'll be as simple as that. That's how we'll make those decisions. So with that, we have now launched our new Travel Well Pledge, which I'll get into. And these are our new health and safety protocols that we have put in place to keep everybody healthy and on the up and up while we're out on tour. Now, all of this is available for view on the website. If you just go to tauck.com, there's a big banner at the top of the page, and it'll take you through to all the details, but I'll walk you through some of them here as well. So just, you know, starting off talking about working with our partners, our vendor partners, we have been meeting with each of them individually, everything from our coach partners, to the museums we visit, to the restaurants we dine at. Putting in place best practice protocols to make sure that we have done everything we possibly can to make these trips as safe as we can. You know, travel's never been a perfect science, and it's never going to be. There's always going to be a bit of risk anytime you leave your home, right? But what we want to do is mitigate enough of that risk so that we have done everything we can to keep you safe. And so starting with our hotels, we will have health questionnaires and screenings done, not just on our guests and employees, but also on the employees of the property. They will be getting tested, they will be having health screenings, they'll have questionnaires every day. In terms of in-room measures, we'll be removing everything that's kind of a high-touch surface that doesn't need to be in the room. So the tent cards and the magazines, the coffee makers, the mini bars, all of that will be available on demand, but won't just be sitting in the room, so that those who want access to it can have access to it, and everyone else isn't just having it in the room. Enhanced cleaning measures, of course, of high-touch areas. They'll be doing sanitization throughout, in between each guest coming into the room. Many of them are even leaving the rooms open for 24 to 48 hours in between guests, of course, while keeping the rooms clean as well, so that you are in a pristine and clean environment when you do arrive. And many of them are also allowing for you to schedule the housekeeping at your discretion. So if you're not comfortable having someone in your room every day, you're welcome to request that they don't come. If you want someone to come more frequently, you can also request that. So it'll allow that customization based off of your needs and preferences. In terms of our ships and riverboats, screenings and temperature checks will be something that we do for every person who steps on board every single day. So we will have medical professionals on board who will be doing temperature screenings. They'll also be doing symptom screenings, and will be with us throughout the entirety of the trip. So if God forbid something does pop up, they will be with us throughout to be able to assist in anything that may come up. We'll also keep a quarantine cabin on board. So if, again, God forbid, someone does start to show symptoms, there will be a set-aside cabin where they can be safely away from the rest of the guests. We'll also have staggered meal times on board. Well, in the past, we've had open dining. Due to the new crisis, obviously, we're going to do what we can to keep everybody safe. So we will stagger those meals times so that we're never overcrowding the dining room. We'll also be making sure that all of the staff are wearing masks throughout the entire time that they're working with us on board. board. In terms of in-cabin measures, very similar to what we're seeing in the hotels with the enhanced cleaning of high-touch surfaces, making sure that you have the ability to control when the guest services and housekeeping comes in the same situation with the mini bars and coffee makers. If you'd like those to be added, it will all be done on demand. In terms of sightseeing and local activities, most of our visits, quite frankly, are already exclusive or private just for Tauck groups. We have early hour openings and after hour openings and all of that. So already definitely a smaller group than you would have if you were just going on your own. But we will be having enhanced distancing measures. We'll have altered admission time, so there's not a number of large groups going in all at once, and we're working with that at the individual museum level. And then, simple things like not having paper tickets, just making sure that we're doing that all digitally so that no one has to handle things that they're uncomfortable with. There'll be sanitization stations throughout the destinations so that we can do everything to keep you safe. And then in terms of dining, a la carte dining will continue with Tauck. Most of our meals are a la carte, and we will allow for physical distancing in the dining rooms, again with staggered meal times, as well as moving into larger dining rooms when we are all dining at the same time. It'll all be capacity controlled, open seating, rather than some of the smaller rooms that we may have dined in the past. We always have multiple dining options on all of our ships, as well as at the hotels that we have open, so that you can kind of pick and choose where you'd like to go. And then we'll be eliminating self-serve buffets and refreshments. If we do have a buffet, it will be served by staff, and all staff will be wearing face coverings throughout. Now we have also put a new travel well pledge that we will have all of our guests sign on to before we actually leave for tour. And this is a waiver that you will sign, basically saying that you agree to all of the health and safety guidelines that we've put in place, that you haven't tested positive. If you do start to show fevers or something like that, you'll let the tour director know. You'll follow the social distancing guidelines. You're happy to wear a mask, etc. If at some point during the tour you decide that you no longer want to wear a mask, quite honestly, we will ask you to leave. It's going to be the needs of the group and the health and safety of the group over individual desires at this point. The good news is that if you decide this isn't something that you're comfortable with and that you don't want to wear the mask, or you don't want to social distance, or whatever it might be, you are welcome to move to a later date when hopefully we won't have to follow these guidelines anymore. So that option will be in your hands. But you will have this, so you'll know exactly what that experience will look like when they actually get out on tour. And again, we'll be enforcing it once we do start running the tours. We have also introduced our new private departure programs, which we're absolutely thrilled about. This is a new program that allows you to reserve a private departure of a Tauck tour. So rather than going with a group, it'll be a departure just for your friends or family or whatever it might be. Right now, we have it available on North America and European land journeys. We will be adding our Bridges portfolio, which is our family programs, as well as our exotics portfolio. And the pricing will be a premium on top of small group pricing with a minimum of 10 paying guests. Now, you can have a group smaller than that, but you will be responsible for paying for 10 guests if you do. All the normal inclusions that come with a Tauck tour will be included here. So the tour director that will be with the group 24/7, all the excursions, the Wi-Fi at the hotel, transfers to and from the airport, all included in the upfront price. Plus, we'll be offering a complimentary More Time Together night, which will be a hotel night that you can use on either end of the trip. And for every 10 guests that travel, the 11th will be free. So a really nice way for you to travel if you're not quite ready to travel with a group, and still be able to travel on a fabulous Tauck tour with just your friends or family. So in terms of who Tauck is, I know Tauck may be a little bit new for some of you, so I'm just going to quickly run through what makes Tauck a little bit unique before walking you through some of our highlighted itineraries here. At Tauck, we always focus on providing exclusive and unique access to our destinations. So it's events like what you see here. This is our palace dinner at Pelle Pallavicini in Vienna. It's the private palace in Vienna, right across the street from the Spanish Riding School, actually. We're welcomed into the sumptuous ballroom where we have a beautiful multi-course meal, and there's opera singers and ballet dancers and an orchestra. It's truly a fabulous experience and exclusive to Tauck there. It's also our after hours entrances to museums, the Vatican Museum, the Louvre, etc. You could literally lie on the floor of the Sistine Chapel when you're there because there's no one shushing you around or anything like that. It's just our guests there. So it's all of these unique, exclusive moments that you just can't get anywhere else that really make Tauck super special. We also believe in providing closer connections. Tauck is a truly all-inclusive company. We have taken care of all of the little details so that you can just kick back, relax, enjoy the beautiful destinations and the cultures you're visiting, but also make closer connections with the other guests you're traveling with. You know, these are folks who've generally led some pretty interesting lives, so a nice way for you to kind of connect with like-minded travelers. Now, everything is including meeting every single excursion. We don't sell options to upgrade or for a fancier dinner. Everything's included in the upfront price. We even include, pride ourselves on including all of the things that can sometimes cause a hassle while traveling. So our luggage fairies are a good example of that. Those are the folks who will meet you at the airport. They'll take the luggage out of your hand, and then when you arrive back at your hotel, your bags will be waiting for you in your room. And when it's time to move to the next hotel or onto the ship or wherever it might be, they'll come into your room, take your bag again, and when you arrive in your next destination, your bag will be waiting for you there. Now that might seem like a little moment, but when you're changing hotels 5 times sometimes over a two-week trip, not having to lug that luggage through a hallway with a plushly carpeted floor and then onto an elevator and through a lobby and onto a bus makes a really big difference along the way. It's also a small change tipping. So for example, if you have you've entered into a new country with a new currency and now you're in a new hotel and you've got to tip the bellman, but you can't find the proper amount of money and you're not sure what the right amount is to be able to tip this gentleman or lady who's come to your room with your bags, we have taken care of that for you. So it's not even something you have to think about. So we've taken away all those little hassle points. So all there is to do is sit back and enjoy. We also love to talk about our fabulous tour directors. We have 350 of them worldwide. They have an average tenure with us of 12 years. So not folks who just woke up one day and decided that they wanted to work in the travel industry. These are folks who have lived in the destinations that we're visiting. They love those destinations and now they want to share them with you. And they're there for us when things are going well, and then unfortunately sometimes when things don't less well. I was out on a river cruise last year and one of our guests came down with appendicitis. Now rather than take one of the Tauck tour directors who's on tour with us away from the rest of the group to go to the hospital with this woman, what we did was called one of our off-duty tour directors, who happened to live in the town where we were docked in Germany. She met the guest, brought her to the hospital, and stayed with her for 5 days until the guest was ready to travel home again. That's the type of experience you can expect from a Tauck tour director. You're just not going to get with anyone else. And then exceptional travel made effortless and at a great value. You know, our guests tell us continuously that they are happy to pay a premium for an exceptional experience. They want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. And so that's where that exceptional travel made effortless comes into play. We have taken care of absolutely everything. So while our price point may be a bit higher than some of our competitors on the market, if you actually price out what it would cost to have all the inclusions that Tauck has, so the premium hotels, the meals and alcohol, the tipping, the excursions, etc., we will come out at as a better value 10 times out of 10. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on here at Tauck, and something that our guests have told us time and time again is something that's really important to them when finding a travel provider. And then 95 years young. This is a photo of our first ever tour, believe it or not. This is in 1925. That strapping gentleman on the right is Arthur Tauck Sr. He took an ad out in the New York Star Ledger advertising for a week-long all-inclusive trip through the backwoods of New England for $69. As you can probably imagine, the similar trip we offer today is offered at a very different price point, but still with that same congenial spirit running through it. We keep this photo around the office with a little cheesy tagline of what would Arthur do? And the answer for us is always the right thing by the client, even if that means it's going to cost us more money at the end of the day. And this is probably more important now than it ever has been, right? With this crisis, it's certainly been one of the most challenging things we've ever faced. But we've faced world wars, we've faced recessions, we've faced public unrest, We've come out stronger on the other side each time, and we will do the same here. The Tauck family is 100% committed to seeing the Tauck brand to the other side of this thing so that we can set ourselves up for the next 95 years. So we have plans in place if we can't travel for another 6 months, or if we can't travel for another 6 years. Tauck is not going anywhere. So rest assured, when you're making those travel plans, you can trust in Tauck that we will be here, we will honor our word, and we will provide exceptional travel experiences to you. And then having a journey for every traveler. One of the unique things about Tauck is that we are not just a land tour company in North America. We're not just a river tour company in Europe. We're not just a safari company. We offer everything. We have 250 itineraries across 7 continents. So really any type of trip you could want to take, we have something on offer. And that really makes a difference. You know, when you've taken a fabulous river cruise and now you want to take a tour of Canada, you don't have to look for a new tour operator to go with. You know the Tauck brand, you know what we're all about, and you can take the next tour with us as well. This also speaks to our excursion choice while out on tour. For example, on our water products, so our cruises and our riverboats, we offer shore excursion choice in every single port of call. So you'll have 2 to 4 different options for touring that day in every destination that you visit. Now, every single option is included, and if you can fit 2 into your daily schedule, you're more than welcome to do so. And so this will include things like active adventures, so hiking, biking, kayaking, more traditionally focused touring like museum visits and city tours, and then more culturally immersive options like dance lessons or cooking classes, or even some wine tastings along the way. So you could go out on a small ship cruise and have 80 people on board, and not a single person could have had the same trip as the person next to them. So all of the comfort, convenience, and extraordinary moments that come with a Tauck tour, but now customized to your unique needs, desires, and interests. So highlighted itineraries, the thing you all came for today. Excited to chat with you a little bit about our North America trips. We have been operating in North America for all 95 of our years now, so we have great relationships. We know all the hidden gems of the world. We have really great access to offer everyone. We also have 40 different itineraries throughout North America, so whether you're looking for something more cosmopolitan and city-based, or something a little bit more outdoorsy to experience the beautiful landscapes of this country, we have something on offer for you. The Tauck in the national parks is something that really runs deep in our blood. We have had relationship with the parks now for almost 100 years. So we get exclusive access once in parks, not only to the best guides, but also the best timing. What some folks don't always realize is that while Grand Tetons are beautiful at any time of the day, there's something really special about the way the sun sets on the mountains. We know that, and we know the best place for you to see that. So we'll make sure that you're there at exactly the right time and in the place that's the least crowded. We also have access to all of the lodges. We will stay on park property whenever there is a park lodge available. So you aren't shipping yourself in and out every day on a bus and waiting in traffic and waiting to pay the guards at the gate and all of that. We've taken care of all of that. So all you have to do is wake up and enjoy the beautiful views from these unbelievable properties. We also get access to all the restaurant reservations the day before everyone else does. Now, this might seem like a small situation, but when you've woken up early to watch the sunrise over Old Faithful at the Old Faithful Lodge when we're staying on that trip, knowing that you don't have to wait online to get a reservation for dinner that night makes a really big difference. So you'll sign up before that evening. We'll pass around a sheet so everyone can pick a time when they'd like to dine. You'll be seated. You'll order whatever you'd like off the menu, and then you'll just sign the bill Tauck, and we'll take care of the bill for you. So another great way for you to dine on Tauck, but without having to worry about, dining in a group setting every evening if you'd like to just dine with the folks that you've traveled with or with a new friend you've met on the tour. Now, throughout North America, we have a fabulous relationship with Ken Burns, the famed documentarian. Ken works with us not just on the itineraries, but also in little vignettes that we show the guests each day to give them some insight into what it is that you're about to go see, so you have some context there. Ken's a really wonderful partner with us. Ken is famed for his PBS documentary series. Of course, you may have seen his Vietnam documentary, or the one on the Civil War, or Prohibition, or jazz, or the country music one he came out with last year. So Ken's a great partner of ours. And one of the most popular tours that he's worked on with us is this Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park trip. This is a 7-night tour from Jackson, Wyoming to Rapid City, South Dakota. Now we'll stay in park accommodations throughout the entirety of this trip. The excursions include a rafting expedition on the Snake River. We'll visit Mormon Row in Grand Tetons, where we get exclusive access because of a restoration project we did with the Park Service there a few years back, and then a guided tour of Mount Rushmore. My favorite visit is in Cody, though, where we go, of course, to the famed rodeo and the Buffalo Bill Museum, but we also do a really fabulous cookout under the stars that evening, so everyone can dine in Big Sky Country. It's absolutely gorgeous. Next up, Best of Hawaii. So great to see this trip still going strong. We have been operating this tour now for over 50 years, believe it or not. We've had some enhancements, of course, along the way, but this is one of our tried and true programs here. It's an 11-night tour, including Oahu, Hawaii, Kauai, and Maui. Now, along the way, we'll stay in ocean view rooms in some of the premier properties across the island. So we'll stay at the Pink Palace in Waikiki, the Fairmont in Hawaii and Maui, and then in Kauai, we stay at the beautiful Grand Hyatt. In terms of excursions, we'll include our welcome dinner at Iolani Palace, a guided tour of Pearl Harbor, an outrigger canoe ride, and even an opportunity for a helicopter tour of Kauai, which is absolutely beautiful. Now in Maui, our farewell dinner, of course, is a luau. We'll have cooking classes and hula lessons for anyone who'd like to take part. It's a really fun night. Now, of course, we know that one of the main draws of the island is the beautiful beaches and the fabulous resorts we'll be staying at. So we have built in plenty of leisure time so you can enjoy those beautiful vistas and splash around in the warm waters while balancing that out with the cultural excursions. Next, our Southern Charm Tour. So this is Savannah to Charleston over 11 nights. We'll start with a dinner at the Marshall House in Savannah, which is the oldest hotel in the city. Then we'll do a culinary demonstration of low country cuisine in Beaufort before heading up to Charleston, where we do a beautiful sunset cruise on the harbor with wonderful cocktails and past hors d'oeuvres. My favorite visit, though, is to Middleton Place. That is where we will have a beautiful guided tour and a lunch. It's America's oldest landscaped gardens. I love this tour particularly in the fall months. It's a little bit less crowded, it's a little bit less hot, and of course this region has gotten so much publicity lately, with Charleston being named as one of the best cities in the world to visit. So if you are looking for something a little bit more cosmopolitan while staying close to home, this is a really nice option for you. Next, our Grand Alaska Tour. Couldn't be more different than that Savannah tour, that's for sure. This is really our grand dam of our Alaska tours. It's 14 nights, including a 7-night inside passage cruise and 7 nights on land. We'll start with a private float plane for our flight seeing over Denali National Park. We have a private whale watching cruise, a visit to a family homestead in Trapper Creek to learn about modern pioneer life. The Chilkat Bald Eagle Preserve, where we will do a rafting adventure. And we even have a visit with an Iditarod champion musher to learn about dog sledding. We'll even have an opportunity for a dog sledding demonstration everyone can take part in. My favorite, though, is our farewell dinner, which is a salmon bake at the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge, which is absolutely gorgeous. This tour offered from late spring to early fall, so really your choice. But if you are there in the summer months, you do get those white nights, which is nice. So lots of long days for enjoying the beautiful vistas. Next, Grand New England. That photo that I showed you at the beginning of our first tour in 1925, this was that trip. Now, of course, we've made some enhancement over our last century, but essentially following a very similar itinerary. So this one is very close to our hearts here at Tauck. It's an 11-night journey. We'll start with a private tour and lunch at Edith Wharton's Berkshire home, The Mount. And then our private Tauck schooner, the SS Tauck, will take you on a cruise off the shore of Bar Harbor in Maine. Maine. We'll have a wonderful New England farm-to-table cooking demonstration and dinner at this gorgeous farm in Vermont. And then our exclusive hands-on lobstering experience in Portland with a local lobster fisherman. Now, along the way, for any lobster lovers that might be listening in today, we do have 3 different lobster dining experiences. So if you're a lobster lover, this is the trip for you. Next, Michigan's lakes with Mackinac Island, a 7-night tour here. I love this tour in the summer months. We'll have a beautiful dinner at the Chateau Chantel with a wine pairing on the Old Mission Peninsula, a private horse-drawn carriage tour of Mackinac Island. There'll be a private presentation by a local historian during our 2-night stay at the legendary Grand Hotel there. And we even have an opportunity to visit the new Ford Road factory, so you can see the state-of-the-art production facilities there. My favorite, though, is our private tour ship sailing on Grand Traverse Bay. It's absolutely gorgeous. I was actually talking to one of our colleagues earlier today, just remembered, and she was a tour director on this tour, and I was telling her I was presenting on this tour later today, and she mentioned that she prefers this tour in the fall months. I couldn't disagree with her more. I think it's gorgeous in the summer, but she is the expert here, so looks like you can't really go wrong, really, no matter when you book this one. Next, Canadian Rockies and Glacier National Park. So this one obviously will be both domestic as well as in Canada here, a little bit unique. We'll have guided exploration here of Banff, Jasper, Waterton Lakes, and Glacier National Parks, crossing the border a couple of times here. Staying inside of park accommodations here in some of the most beautiful hotels in Canada. I don't know that anyone has more beautiful inside the park accommodation than Canada does. So we'll have the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. They're all top-notch, 5-star, beautiful properties. We'll include a private lake cruise and ride on a vintage jammer in Glacier National Park, and then our Wild West farewell dinner at the Heritage Park Museum with entertainment including cowboy stunts and the Calgary Fiddlers. What could be more fun than that? Next, our Canadian Maritimes tour. So moving to the other coast, this is our East Coast tour of Canada, focusing on Nova Scotia and Prince Edward's Island. We'll have a private reception and dinner in Halifax at the Citadel, which is a treasured 19th century fortress. It's a really, really neat welcome dinner location. And we'll have a visit to the Gaelic College of Celtic Arts and Crafts in Cape Breton Island, where we'll learn about Nova Scotia's Gaelic culture, and then watch a demonstration in the art of kilt making. You'll even have a chance to try one on if you're feeling adventurous. And then we'll have a fabled kitchen party, of course, at the Celtic Lodge with local cuisine and lively Celtic music. We'll have a visit to the Millbrook Cultural and Heritage Center to learn about the local Indigenous culture and their artistic traditions, and a visit to the Alexander Graham Bell Historic National Park in Baddeck. My favorite, though, is when we have the opportunity to learn about oyster shucking and the regional cuisine with included demonstrations. We have a beautiful seafood dinner outdoors when weather permits, and plenty of oysters to go around. And then finally, my favorite trip throughout North America, our Manitoba Polar Bear Adventure. This is such a fun tour. It's a 5-night trip, which includes all your private charter flights between Churchill and Winnipeg. You'll spend 3 nights in Churchill at a lodge, which is called the Polar Bear Capital of the World. We'll have 2 exciting excursions in polar bear country with a naturalist guide aboard one of those specially designed Treasure vehicles. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they have incredibly tall walls and they have these big glass windows, and the vehicle is actually on tank tracks. It's a really, really neat site there. Then we'll have a private exclusive after-hours reception at the Manitoba Museum and a dog sledding demonstration and dog sled ride once we get back into Winnipeg. And then finally, we will also include, of course, a private after-hours visit to the Eskimo Museum in Churchville. A fabulous tour here, of course, well, in the winter months. It's run in the winter months, but really not to be missed. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's a true Canadian safari. All right, I just gave you guys a whole bunch of information. I'm going to take a breath and see if there's any questions, but I will just say thank you also for everyone for joining, and we will be offering a complimentary pre or post night that you can use on any new Tauck booking that you book in the next 30 days as a thank you for joining today. But if you have any questions, feel free to chat those in or just unmute yourself and ask. I will be here for a few minutes for anything that might come up.
Well, Kristen, I don't have anything in the chat box as of right now. although you did cover the face coverings for your personnel on all these trips, are the travelers required to wear the face masks as well?
Yes, the travelers will be required to wear face masks whenever we are in group settings. So if we are in a museum or walking through a historical site, masks will be required. The only time they wouldn't be is if we were socially distanced outdoors, like in a national park or something like that.
Okay, does anybody have any questions so we can unmute you? Just
Okay, I just got a question saying, how many national parks does Tauck have tours of? Oh gosh, many. Almost all of our North America tours include a visit to at least one national park, and we have 40 domestic tours. Almost all of them. Anywhere that you could, any national park that you have on your to visit list, we probably have one a tour that will touch that.
And of course, questions don't stop today. If you think of something later tonight or tomorrow, you can just email all of us, any of us here at Travel Wizards, and we will be sure to get that question off to Kristen, and she will be happy to answer it, and we can get that answer back to you.
Absolutely. You guys have chosen the best. There's nobody better than the team at Travel Wizards. You are absolutely in good hands there. I had a question about COVID tests being required before joining the trip. As of right now, the answer to that is no, though I'll be honest, it is something they're looking into. No final decision has been made on that. We won't be operating tours until Q1, so we'll see what pans out on that, but stay tuned, I would say. It's something that's being discussed, but not a final decision has not yet been made on that.
Well, you've definitely went over an awful lot.
That's for sure.
Even the few that you showed us, I'm not exactly sure which one I would want to go on, or which one to start. I mean, that Grand Alaska looked really nice.
Isn't that amazing? The flight seeing on that float plane is high on my to-do list. I just got a question about what destination is on the screen. This is the Danube River, actually. So this is from one of our Danube River cruises out in, I believe this is in Germany. You'll have to double check me on that one, but this is from our Danube River tour.
It looks like Carolyn has unmuted herself. Carolyn, did you have a question?
The only thing I was thinking, we had taken the Canadian tour years ago with Tauck, and it was fabulous. And Emerald Lake was on that at this time. Is that still, I haven't seen it in the books, is that still on your itinerary for the Canadian? We went to Banff. We went all over. I don't think your tour does as much this time, but I was curious if Emerald Lake is on that at all in any of your tours.
Yes, we do include it on some of our tours. Not all of our Canadian tours do we offer it on, though. We have 20 different itineraries in Canada. So the tour you took likely was a more intensive tour. We have some that are just a week, some that are 2 weeks long, and each itinerary varies. So if that's something that you have on your to revisit list, definitely take a peek. We do have tours that touch Emerald Lake.
Thank you. It was a great tour. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Well, we also just want to reiterate that Tauck does take care of you from the moment you get there, actually even before you start your trip to the point where you get home. So that your hand is basically held from start to finish.
Absolutely.
So we do appreciate Kristen showing us these fabulous itineraries and going over their protocols tonight.
My pleasure. And again, any questions that do pop up, feel free, of course, to reach out to your fabulous team at Travel Wizards, and they'll be in contact with me, and I'm happy to assist in any way I can.
Okay, well, we'll wait another minute or two to see if there's any more questions. And if not, then, we do wish you a very good evening. Take this information back with you. If you have any further questions later on, make sure that you just reach out to any one of the wizards at Travel Wizards, and we will be happy to get you set up. It doesn't have to be now. As she said, they're probably not restarting until Q1 of next year. But the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, it might sound like it's far away right now, but it isn't. So, to get you on the books for a Tauck tour right now, just to get you set, And Kristen, what does it take just to get a deposit down on a trip?
Very simple. All you'll need to do is contact one of your fabulous travel wizard advisors. They'll reach out to us, and the deposit will vary based off of the cost of the trip. Generally, somewhere in the neighborhood of between $399 and $1,000. Some are a little bit higher for our longer cruises, but generally in that range. And then you'll be all set and reserved until final payment due date, which generally is 120 days before departure. But right now for Q1, we have extended our 45 days before departure due date. My guess is that will probably be extended a bit further into 21, but stay tuned to see how that all progresses.
Okay, so it's a nominal deposit basically to get yourself booked on a tour and to start looking forward to something, even if it's third quarter of 2021.
I have a question before Kristen goes. If you
Sure.
want to get some details, what's the website we should look for these tours?
Absolutely. It's just Tauck.com. It's spelled TAUCK.com. And we'll have all of our tours listed there, and then a day-by-day itinerary and breakdown there, including the hotels we'll stay at, museums we'll visit, all the sightseeing, all of that will be included for you to view there. Your fabulous travel agents at Travel Wizards will also be able to assist in getting you a proposal, a day-by-day itinerary that they can send to you. So if you are looking for further details, they can help you with that.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, are there any additional questions at this time? Okay, like we said before, if you have a question later tonight or tomorrow, please reach out to us. We'll make sure we get them to Kristen and we'll get them answered for you. So therefore, I do appreciate Kristen. Thank you again. Thank you to Tauck for such a beautiful presentation. Thank you to all that attended. We did have quite a few attendees tonight, and that's always very nice to see. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and your schedules, especially since on the West Coast here, it is just coming up around dinner time for some people. So we do appreciate you spending the time with us tonight. And we look forward to maybe seeing you next Tuesday when we have our next Wizards World, which I believe would be Viking River Cruises and their introduction to the Mississippi River. Till then, we wish you a good night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.